Hey everybody, Mr. Wagner here. If you remember where we left off at Breakout 8, we had created our brick class. We have created the constructor and a few attributes to the bricks, and let's see if we can use these things now. Okay, so I'm going to start out here. First I'll change that to a 9. Okay, so we're going to scroll on down. Here's our class, brick class, where we've created. And what we are going to do first is we are going to actually create some bricks. Okay, so where we are going to make bricks is in this make bricks function. Now, remember, a brick needs 3 things. It needs a rectangle, and it needs a color, and it needs a points value, okay? So I think we can create that pretty easily. First thing I want you to notice here is my bricks.append, this little bit here is actually our rectangle. So I'm going to just say something like brick rectangle equals, and again it is a tuple. And I think if we just get rid of that little thing, okay, so now we have our brick rectangle, which is all of that. Now we can say new brick equals a brick, and we are going to pass it the brick rectangle. I'll pass it some sort of a color, let's just say green, and some sort of a point, so maybe 100 points. Okay. Now we're making bricks. The bricks have a rectangle, a color, and a points value. Okay, so now let's go and take a look at when we call make bricks and see if that looks all good. So we're going to scroll on down here, and where we call make bricks is right here. Bricks equals make bricks 519. Okay, so I think that'll work, right? I think that'll work. Now there's 2 other places where we use the bricks. One is we look at when we are looking at how something is colliding with a brick, and then the other place is when we're actually drawing the brick. So let's take a look at both of those 2 things. So if you remember, where we collide bricks is right after our where we're looking at left and right keyboard presses. And that's right here, for brick in bricks, blah, 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 okay? First off, we got a lot of the word brick in here. So I'm gonna make this for B in bricks because I think it'll make things a little bit clearer. So for B in bricks, this basically means for that loop, we are going through all of the different bricks, and each time we're in the loop, the new brick that we're dealing with name is B at that moment. Okay, so B in bricks. So what we can do is we can say if pygame.rect.collideRect, ball rect, that's the rectangle for the ball, and then we say B.rect. Okay, because that's the rectangle of that particular brick. So we've basically been able to do the same thing, but by looking at the rectangle that's within that object, okay? The dy times equals -1, that should be just fine. And then bricks.remove, the brick that we want to remove is B, because that is our brick, right? Okay. So, you got to think about, we got this whole list of bricks, and each one of those bricks is an object. And sometimes we have to look inside that object to find the rectangle or something. But sometimes we need to remove the whole object itself. And that's what we did here on line 100, okay? You may have to watch this one a couple times. It takes you a little bit of time to wrap your head around object-oriented programming, but once you do, so powerful, so powerful. Okay, let's scroll down and take a look at our drawing of a brick. Now notice how we use for B in bricks. We're gonna do the same thing. Okay, we're going to scroll down here. Now, in this case on line 130, we did for brick index in range of the length of bricks. Okay, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it for B in bricks because it makes a little bit more sense than having to go with an index. So let's just type in B in bricks. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to draw it. Pygame.draw.rectangle, and B is our brick. So what we can do is just say B.color, okay, because that's the color of the brick, and the rectangle of the brick is B.rect, okay? Woo. Okay, so again, we have this entire list of bricks. We grab the first brick. We want to draw that first brick. We get the attribute from that brick called color. That's the color we're going to use. We're going to find the attribute for the rectangle, and that's the size of the brick that we want to write. Okay, so let's do a run and cross our fingers that we didn't mess up anything. Oh, we sure as heck messed something up. Because I don't see any bricks here, do you? Wonder what's going on. Okay, so let's close that and let's think about this. We have no bricks. So if we have no bricks, then that may mean that we never made the bricks in the first place. Okay, so let's scroll back up and look at make bricks. Here's make bricks. Okay, now think about this. I don't know if you've watched that video on the rubber duck debugging. If you haven't, watch it. I'm gonna talk to my rubber duck here and I'm gonna say, okay, so line 31, we're making an empty list. Okay, that's good. Line 32, we've created a width. Line 33, we've created a height. Line 34, we've created a spacing and an initial shift. And then we're going through all of our rows and all of our columns in a double thing. We've created the rectangle, which seems very nice. And then we've created this new brick, and then we're returning my bricks. So if we're returning my bricks, we never added the new brick to my bricks, okay? Which would make sense because we don't see any darn bricks up there. Thank you, Mr. Duck. I'll put you back. Okay, so we need to append that new brick. So let's do that. My bricks dot append new brick. My bricks dot append the new brick. Okay, let's cross our fingers. Here we go. Run, run, Breakout9. Hey, we got all kinds of green bricks. Okay. That is fantastic because now all of our bricks are objects. Okay, so we're going to close this out. And let me look at my list. Okay, so now I know what I want to do here. We've made our bricks. Now, objects don't only have to have attributes. They can actually have what's known as methods. And a method is something that an object can do. And one of the things that our object can do, which would be really nice, is to be able to draw itself. So let's see if we can create a draw method inside our class. Okay, so here's our class brick, blah, blah, blah. Here's our constructor, and here's our string. And then we're going to say right here, we're going to say def draw, because what we want to do is we want to draw that brick, okay? Let's go down and look at our drawing command. And we're going to scroll down. And when we draw our drawing command is basically pygame.draw.rect and then all this stuff, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put a pound sign in front of here. And I'm going to say something to the effect of b.draw, okay, like that. But we actually need to pass the screen, otherwise it doesn't have anywhere to draw it, okay? But b.color and b.rect, we already have those. So we're going to do b.draw and then the screen just like that. Okay, look at my notes, make sure. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up and we're going to look at our draw routine. You know what? I'm going to copy this just because I think we might need it. You'll find that I copy and paste code all the time. You know, you get used to it. Okay, so here it is. Def draw. And we want to go here, but we also want to pass our screen. Okay, so yeah, don't worry about the self. You got to put it in there, but it sort of gets hidden, okay? So we're going to draw the self with the screen, and that passes it. And then instead of b.color, we're going to say self.color. Instead of b.rect, we're going to say self.rect. Okay, so let's go back down and look at our draw command. It's important to look at it. And in here, we can now say for B in bricks, b.draw, and we're going to pass it the screen that we're going to draw on. Okay, that's all we're doing. And then when we come up here into our thing, then we are doing pygame.draw.rect. We're passing the screen, self-color, self-rect, okay? And actually one other little thing that I'm gonna do on here is I'm gonna put return that, okay? Because pygame.draw.rect will actually return a rectangle. And we are gonna use that rectangle that gets returned, but we're gonna do that much later in our video. But we're going to go ahead and do a return. So let me see if that runs, and that runs just fine. It should be good, and it should still, yeah, still does that. Okay, now one more thing that I think is going to be a lot of fun is this. Let's play around with the colors of the game, because right now they're all green. That's kind of boring, right? So let's look at our make bricks. Now imagine if each row was a different color. Let's go ahead and create some, let's create a list of colors. So let's just call this my colors. I use my a lot, equals, and then we're going to do quote, red, and then comma, quote, orange, quote, comma, red, orange, green, quote, comma, blue, quote, comma, red, orange. Oh, you know what? We forgot yellow, didn't we? Red, orange, yellow. Green, blue, and let's do violet. Help if I could spell. Okay, so now we have a list of colors, okay, and my color sub-zero. If I did something like print my colors sub-zero, then that would print out red, okay? Oops. So notice how that's underlined in red. That's a, now it's not. Okay, so that would say red, and if I did 3, that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, so that would be green, and if I did 2, then that would be yellow, okay? But notice how if I put a number in there inside the square brackets, then it will put that color in there. And where that comes in handy is, I'm just gonna put a hashtag in front of that so we can, where that comes in handy is if I come down here to where we're creating this new brick, and instead of green, I type in my colors, bracket R, okay? Because the row defines that color. Isn't that cool? So the first row is all going to be red. The second row is going to be orange. Third row is going to be yellow, green, blue, violet, etc. Okay. Now the only real place that you can get in trouble with that is, you know, what if this R value has more things than colors? And there's ways to program around that. But, you know, for what we're doing here, I think we're fine. You know, that's 5 rows. Okay, so you think it's going to work? Let's hope so. Run Breakout 9. And look at that, we have pretty colors. Doesn't this look like it's an actual game at this point? I think so. I think we're in good shape. Whew. Okay. Lot we've gone over there with all these objects. You may have to watch these videos a second time to get going on it. Feel free to send me comments or stop in on the Q&A section, and I'll try to do my best to explain what's going on. If you don't quite get it, you know, just gotta ask for help. All right, everybody, have a wonderful afternoon. I gotta get to editing all this video, and we'll see you later. Bye.